It won't take a moment.
Sure, Father.
Give me a moment, Henry, while I look for that book for you.
Sorry, Father.
Good day, Henry. Where could I have put it? I knew it was a mistake to put it in a safe place. Ah, here it is.
About that manuscript, Father.
Ah, excellent. Look, I found it. Copied excerpts from the work of Magister Parisiensis.
The who?
Matthew of Yanolf, the master of Paris as he was known. He studied there. He was a university master. He traveled a lot and was very learned. Did I tell you about Jan Hus?
Oh, yeah. I'm not likely to forget that in a hurry.
Ha ha, right. Me neither. Anyway, as I was saying, Hus wasn't alone, see? There are other masters who have similar ideas. Just that Hus knows how to talk about it better than anyone. But this Matthew, he was one of those who thought much the same as Hus.
And what use will that be to me?
I can't say, but it came to mind when you were talking about Johanka, because Matthew wrote about similar things, about women who had visions and the like. I've got a copy here. I'll lend it to you if you promise to bring it back. You do know how to read, don't you?
Of course I do.
By Christ, lad, you're a regular scholar. Here you are then. I'm sure it's in good hands. You can bring it back to me when you're passing again.
Ah, all right, thanks.
You're welcome, lad. Now run along and don't keep Johanka waiting.
Apple! Melons right off the vine and beetroot fresh from the fields.
Yeah. Yeah.
clear off.
Where's Johanka?
She's locked up at the rat house. Orders of the bishop.
Locked up? For what?
For heretical speeches. Run along now. If you want to chat about it, go and talk to that monk who smells like an apothecary shop. He's in a flap about it too. God be with you.
What happened to Johanka?
Nothing good, I'm sorry to say. She was locked up by the papal inquisitor Bishop Yaroslav of Benešov. It seems he somehow caught wind of this preaching of hers. He's accused her of spreading heresy and had her placed under arrest.
Jesus Christ! What's going to happen to her?
I don't know, Henry. It all depends on the inquisitor and how he decides. The accusations brought against Johanka are very serious.
Well, we must do something.
Well, you can try talking to Bishop Yaroslav. He can tell you more. As a servant of the royal hetman, your name ought to carry some weight with him. But watch your step. This matter is entirely in the hands of church law, so you mustn't overestimate your lay authority here.
Right. I'll go and see this Bishop Yaroslav of Benešov.
May God go with you. And thank you, Henry. I'm glad you're standing up for Johanka. If you need anything, do come and see me.
Would you teach... I want to...
You can't become...
Well...
Goodbye.
God. Huh? God's blessings.
How are things going here?
Quite well. It's a lot of work, but I have a feeling I'm doing something useful. Johanka and Brother Nicodemus showed me what to do, and I already know a thing or two.
Sounds good.
I have a roof over my head, enough to eat, and they even pay me a bit. It's really quite fine.
I'm glad to hear it.
Can't sleep again.
And you've had no trouble from anyone?
No, everyone has been kind. It's sweet of you to care, Henry.
Good luck then.
Yeah! Yeah! So, I am...
Henry of Skalice, from the garrison of the royal hetman, Sir Racka Kobylu. I've heard a lot about you, my son. I'm pleased to meet you.
Bishop Yaroslav? Sir? My lord, to what do I owe your interest in my humble self?
I was told you survived the massacre in Skalice and warned the Townburg garrison. You tracked down the raiders of a stud farm in Neuhof, wasn't it? To their hideout in the woods. And then you led Sir Racek and his armed company there and joined bravely in the skirmish, and even killed their notorious leader by your own hand. And I believe you have many other deeds to your name. That's quite remarkable, considering your age, is it not?
Well, you're too kind, Monsignor. I'm just trying to do what's right, and what's needed.
Quite rightly, too, my son. I expect we'll be hearing more about you. But I assume you didn't come here to exchange pleasantries. Or am I mistaken?
No, Monsignor, you're quite right. I'm here about Johanka.
Naturally. I'd be quite surprised if it were otherwise. So, tell me what's on your mind.
How did you find out about Johanka?
Word came to me of what was happening here. That some young girl was claiming to speak for the Blessed Virgin. I traveled here immediately, as my duty demanded, and observed events in Sasau incognito, in order to examine the matter at first hand.
I see. Why did you have her imprisoned?
Because she broke the promise she made to me, and persisted in actions that bear the signs of heresy.
And what will happen to Johanka now?
I must weigh the gravity of her transgressions, and investigate these alleged visions of hers. I consider it very improbable that she is indeed being visited by the Blessed Virgin. Nevertheless, I cannot at this time rule it out entirely.
So you think it could be true? In that case, Johanka hasn't done anything wrong.
It's not that straightforward. Even if her visions were real, she was at fault for interpreting them as she saw fit and preaching to the people.
When will you decide, Monsignor?
As soon as I am fully informed of the facts. Although it seems the matter is a little more complicated than I first thought. I will call Johanka and the witnesses, question them, and then pronounce a verdict.
And will there be anyone there to defend Johanka?
Do you doubt my judgment?
I would never be so bold, sir. But surely it would be only just that someone should speak for Johanka about all her good deeds and so forth?
Naturally, I will also question those who would speak in her defense. Since you are interceding, I expect you have someone in mind?
Yes. Actually, me.
As I surmised. But this matter does not directly concern you. Why should I allow you to appear before the court?
Johanka is my neighbour, and I have a Christian duty to come to her aid. I can't just stand by and do nothing.
I have to concur with you on that. Your concern seems sincere, so I will grant your request. Very well. You will defend Johanka. You may speak in her defense if you so wish, and you may also bring witnesses. I will question any such witnesses, and naturally I shall question Johanka too.
Thank you, Monsignor. In that case, I'll need to speak to Johanka first.
That won't be possible. It's forbidden by the Inquisition procedure. Until the entire matter is resolved, Johanka can speak only to me, and no one else. I would like to expedite the matter. The trial will take place in Sasau Church in 3 days' time at the latest. Come and let me know when you're ready to proceed. In the meantime, I will continue my investigation.
Very well, Monsignor. I had better get on with it then, sir. Farewell.
Before you go, you know Johanka longer than anyone else. You spent a lot of time with her, as I've discovered. Tell me, my son, truthfully, what do you think of this whole affair?
Johanka is an honest girl, and virtuous. She's a good Christian, who attends church and thinks of others.
Good. Please continue.
Johanka helped a lot of people. She worked her fingers to the bone helping Brother Nicodemus with the sick and injured.
That is certainly commendable. What else can you tell me about her?
About the Virgin Mary? I believe the Virgin does visit her. Johanka is honest. She wouldn't lie about such a thing. And the things she says sound truthful and compelling. It really does seem like a heavenly revelation. Who else could it be from? But the Virgin Mary.
The origin of these so-called visions of hers must be investigated. But thank you for your candor. Is there anything else you can tell me?
Well, before, in Skalice, Johanka was sort of, well, just a simple village girl. I never imagined I'd hear her talking the way she does now. She's completely transformed.
A simple village girl.
That's about all I can tell you.
Is that really everything?
I have nothing more to add, Monsignor.
Very well. Thank you, my son. One more thing before you go. Let me remind you that it's your Christian duty to report anything suspicious going on concerning the Church and the true faith, if you're aware of anything of the sort in these parts. If you prove yourself a commendable servant of the Church, I would also take that into account in judging Johanka's case.
All right, Monsignor. I'll bear that in mind.
Good luck, then.
Henry, I'm...
Brother Nicodemus,
You've heard something?
the Inquisitor has decided that Johanka will be tried, but he's agreed that I can defend her.
That's really quite unusual. It must mean he hasn't come to a clear conclusion yet.
Yes. I'll get her out of it.
I'm afraid it may not be that easy. The thing is, I expect Johanka will say the same things before the court that she's been preaching.
What are you saying?
Well, I've been thinking about what she's been saying, and it seems to me her preaching has a certain progression. Are you acquainted with the notion of the three orders of man?
Not really, no.
It's like this. It's said that everyone has their God-given place and purpose on earth. Laboratores, oratores, and bellatores. Those who work, those who pray, and those who fight. The common folk are born to work, to reap the fruits of the earth and to obey the laws of God and man. It is the purpose of the nobles to protect the people and the church against all dangers and to maintain peace and justice on earth. And the church in turn has the task of caring for the spiritual welfare of all, ensuring the salvation of their souls and bringing solace to the people in times of hardship, so that they can endure their earthly trials and enter the kingdom of heaven.
But what's all that got to do with Johanka?
Well, I noticed in her first sermon she primarily addressed the concerns of the common folk, and in the second,
Quiet!
she criticized the nobility.
I suppose so. But I still don't get it.
In short, I'm afraid that now she might start talking about the church if she gets the chance. And if she's as critical as she was about the lords, I dread to think how that might end up. Henry, you must warn her against that. She must show humility before the Inquisitor, and the wisest course would be to admit to being wrong. She's rather stubborn, but perhaps she'll listen to you.
But the Inquisitor said no one's allowed to see her.
No one except the Inquisitor's own men. You'll just have to think something up. I'm afraid Johanka's fate is mainly in your hands now. I'm relying on you. Goodbye. See you later.
Adela, the Inquisitor is going to try Johanka in court.
Oh, Lord. I hope she's acquitted. I was absolutely devastated when they took her away.
I need people to speak in her defense, and I'd like to ask you to do it.
I don't want to go there. Really. I'm afraid of that Inquisitor. But you helped me, and so did Johanka. It's only right that I should try and help her. But what am I supposed to say there? I'm just a simple village girl. I don't know anything about these things.
That doesn't matter. You just be yourself. It should be enough to talk about all the good Johanka does here, and how she helps others. I'll send for you if you're needed.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
God save you, Henry. Good day. See you later.
I need something from you, sir. I suppose you heard that Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor and is facing charges of heresy.
I did, and it's most disturbing news.
What you might not know is that he's agreed that I can defend her at the trial.
You? Do you even know what to say?
Sure I know. It'll turn out just fine. Trust me. But I need you to testify at the court. In Johanka's defense, of course.
Naturally. You don't think I could just sit here and do nothing? Besides, the bishop has already insisted that I appear before the court.
Oh. All right.
One moment. I apologize if I was a little hasty. This whole affair has left me anxious. I appreciate that you want to defend her. However, I don't think it would have any effect. No offense, but I don't think you'll be able to achieve anything in court. I'm afraid the Inquisitor will judge as he sees fit, whatever anyone says. But I have an idea how you could help.
Oh? How's that?
Flee. With Johanka, of course.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sure Johanka will be acquitted by the court and everything will be all right. Running would just confirm the Inquisitor's suspicions, and she'd always be looking over her shoulder.
I don't agree. As I said, I don't believe you can affect the outcome of the court. If Johanka flees, yes, she'll have to lie low for a while, but in time it will all blow over. You can take her anywhere, as long as it's far enough from here. A girl like that will always find her feet. She can easily hide out somewhere where she's not known. Maybe there could even be a place for her on my estate. Think about it. But whatever you decide, if Johanka comes to any harm, you'll have me to answer to. I'm very fond of her, and her of me, and I don't want anything to happen to her, understand? But if everything ends well, I'll show you my gratitude, I assure you.
I found this document in the woods by Sasau. Careful, it's a bit bloody.
Don't tell me those fools got themselves. Oh, to hell with it. And did you come across any Cumans?
Yes. They're finished.
There now. It's not such a fuck-up after all. Here's some money for you. It was supposed to be for those idiots, but it seems they asked for 100 groschen more than they deserved.
I know about you and her. She told me everything.
Oh? What exactly do you mean? You'd better be very careful what you say, boy.
I know you're a married man, but you haven't always been entirely faithful to your wife.
How dare you?
And you had to pick Johanka. I know all about it. And you should know it's finished. Johanka was feeling vulnerable when it was all too much for her. That's all. She and Matthias care for each other, so leave them alone. She doesn't want to have anything more to do with you. And she won't.
How dare you speak like that to a noble? You, a blacksmith's brat from Skalice. If you weren't in Lord Kobyla's charge, I'd have you whipped for your lies and dragged behind a horse all the way to Ratai. But whoever you might be hiding behind, next time I'll do just that. Now get out! God be with you.
Yeah. Goodman Pavel, you're still here. That's a relief. I was afraid I'd miss you.
Yes, still here, but not for long. I had some business to deal with, but now that's out of the way and I'm getting ready to leave. What was it you wanted?
You might have heard that Johanka was arrested by the Inquisitor and is facing trial.
Indeed, word has reached me. Poor girl.
I'd like to ask you to speak to the court in Johanka's defense.
Of course, Henry. You have my word. And the word of a burgher of Colleen ought to mean something. But to speak in defense of someone accused of heresy is no small matter. What do you want me to say?
The same thing you told me. That it was a sacred sign that you happened to be nearby when Johanka was speaking, and so on.
True. I'll tell the bishop that. You can rest assured.
Thank you very much. Please wait here a few more days for the court to convene, then I'll send for you.
My pleasure.
All right. For Johanka's sake, I'll wait. Goodbye.
Coming right up.
Any chance of a bite to eat?
Yeah.
Welcome. God's blessings.
I need your help with something. I'm sure you've heard. Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor.
Who hasn't? The whole of Sasso is talking about it. And the Inquisitor was asking around about her.
I'd like to ask you to appear before the court and say something in Johanka's defense.
I can't say I'm keen on going there. But Johanka helped me. And you did too. I think it's only right that someone should say something good about her.
Ah, thanks, Guta. I appreciate it. I'll send for you when it's time.
Good luck then.
Welcome, Henry.
That donation to the town, did it help?
Indeed. And even some townsmen were inspired to promise donations too. Whether it's out of the goodness of their hearts or to glorify their own names. In the end, the important thing is, I don't have to demand anything from the townspeople for the common good. Imposing extraordinary taxes never does much good for a bailiff's popularity. Once again, I thank you in the name of the whole township.
Master Bailiff, Inquisitor Yaroslav is going to try Johanka.
I know. He was here asking questions, too.
Oh? What did he want to know?
Various things. Like how things are here, whether people are honest, whether we observe the fest days, and so forth. And then he asked about Johanka, about what she preaches, whether people come to listen to her and that. He's been talking to a lot of other people in Sasau, too. I even heard that Katra, the swordsmith's wife, invited him to dine with them.
That's interesting. Thanks for telling me. Was he just asking questions, or does he want you to testify before the court?
Yes, he did ask me to testify, and I'm none too happy about it.
I see. And what are you going to say about her?
It depends what I'm asked, but there's not much I can say. I don't know Johanka very well. She seems virtuous and self-sacrificing to me. She's never done anything wrong, and no one here ever had a cross word to say about her. Until recently. Maybe some gossip about her and Sir Sebastian. But I've heard similar talk about half the women folk here.
Now that's just idle gossip. Johanka is a virtuous girl.
True. But then there's that preaching of hers. Folk have been falling out. They're split according to whether they believe Johanka or not. I don't know quite what to think of it myself. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'll wait and see what the learned bishop has to say.
Thank you for speaking openly, Master Bailiff.
Take care.
Father, the Inquisitor has had Johanka thrown in jail.
I know, son.
He's planning a hearing.
Rightly so. It's about time this whole matter was dealt with.
What do you think about it, then?
As I say, it's a good thing that the matter is being investigated. The things Johanka has been preaching are, to say the least, disturbing. Who knows what these dreams are that she speaks of? And her words are only putting ideas in people's heads and leading them astray. Now, instead of going to church, as they should, they go to her in the false belief that they will find solace. It's creating a chasm between the people and the church and leading them away from the true teaching left to us by Christ. They're misguided and swamped in heretical ideas.
But Johanka is no heretic. She's a good, kind girl who's only trying to do the right thing. I'll defend her.
Suit yourself. But mind you don't get ensnared in her fallacies, and leave it to the bishop to judge the matter.
Of course.
Goodbye.